truly a day of shame. And it was a day for me that, of course, you have tremendous regret later.
When Michelle Borquez walked into the abortion clinic, she felt like she didn't have a choice. She was 16, unmarried, and didn't want to let her father down.
I could just see his face. I mean, it was just like, I can't even disappoint him.
Like most girls, Michelle grew up seeking her dad's love and approval. Instead of getting love, she became the target of his angry outbursts.
A boy had come over, and he was just a friend, but he had come over and he was standing at the front door. My dad came in, he was livid. He'd throw me against the wall and he'd be just out of control in his anger.
Without her father's affection, Michelle welcomed any attention she could get from boys. When she was 16, she went to a high school dance where she got drunk for the first time. Later, she went home with her date.
I was very sick, very ill. I went and laid down in one of the rooms there, which I had no memory of. And that's where he came into the room and raped me.
Michelle never told anyone about the rape. Soon after, she started dating another guy and became pregnant by him. That was when the fear of her father and the shame she was already living with led her to get an abortion.
I can say it was traumatic, but at the time it was like, this is what I'm gonna do. And I'm angry and I'm bitter and I'm rebellious.
For the next 4 years, Michelle medicated herself with drinking, partying, and using drugs. During this time, her parents became Christians. They often prayed for her and also invited her to church.
My mom said she would hear a sermon and she'd go, this is it. She's gonna hear that and she's gonna come to know Christ today. And it was just falling on deaf ears.
Michelle continued down her reckless path until one day she saw the ugliness of her life.
Once you've gone through drinking like that and partying like that, and then you come to a stop and you realize this is my life, the ugliness, the filth of it, it felt like I had dirt all over me.
Michelle's heart began to soften and long for God's healing. One Sunday, she went to church with a Christian friend. While she was there, a song really touched her heart.
Those words, I want to know you, I want to know you. All I could think of is, okay, I'm ready, I'm ready to know you. I'm finally ready to give up my will and exchange it for your will. God said to me, if you choose today to follow me, I will give you life. If you stay on this path that you're on, it will bring destruction. It'll bring death. And so when they said, do you want to know Jesus? Do you want to accept him in your heart? I said yes. And I said it and when I said it, it was radical. It was a radical change in my heart. And it was almost like, when they say you're blind, but now you see, it's like my whole vision suddenly opened up.
Afterward, she went home and spent 1 week crying out to God. Then she asked him to forgive her.
And he revealed the dark places of my heart. He began to open up my eyes to the selfishness that I had had. And I felt like there was so many people I just wanted to say sorry to. Out of everything I had done that I needed to ask forgiveness for was the abortion. It was definitely the thing that I was carrying the most shame. I gave my whole life to him. I knew at that point that I had been forgiven of all my sins.
Michelle grew strong in her faith and Christian walk. Soon, she married and later on had 4 kids. She thought she had the perfect life. But then, 13 years later, her husband divorced her. She tried to make sense of it.
I remember going outside my home and screaming as loud as I could, why? Why? I don't understand why this has happened to me. Why am I here? And why am I alone in this situation?
Michelle knew she needed to get help. So over the next 3 years, she sought the help of a counselor. That's when she realized she was still carrying around the shame from the rape and the abortion she had as a teen.
And it wasn't until I was in counseling and I shared that with my mentor that he said to me, that's a lie. That's not true. And he said, let's pray. I want you to ask Jesus to show you.
God showed Michelle a vision that totally transformed her life.
And over this diamond was this just gushing of rivers of blood, just flowing over this diamond. And you could still see, though, the brilliance of the diamond. All the light was shining through that blood. And in that moment, the Lord said to me, this is how I see you. I'm able to see you as this beautiful, pure, flawless diamond with so much value and so much beauty. And I can see you like that simply because of the blood of Christ. And, you know, it changed me.
Michelle says she began to see herself in a new way.
The shame was removed in a moment. It changed the value that I had for myself. Just to realize his faithfulness and the fact that he is so much about restoration. If you just keep pressing through and trusting him and believing, he will bring you out the other side.